Welcome back to Sharathon 2022. You're listening to the Coffee Hour. I'm Andy Bates.
I'm Sarah Gulseth.
We're having a blast in studio. It's a fun time. It's kind of like a family reunion. Oh, you didn't say your name, did you?
Pastor Sean.
Pastor Sean. Good morning, Pastor Sean. He's an honorary co-host of the...
Well, you were asking me to do it earlier, and now
then
you
we just skipped him.
Railroaded me.
We are so close. What's the total on the screen there, Pastor Sean?
It is $74,554.
So we are so close to halfway. So close. Sarah pointed out because she's...
I did math on my phone.
I was going to say, oh, you did it on your phone. You cheated. I was going to say
you
she's better.
You don't want me doing
at
that math in my head.
We're like one day sponsorship away from hitting that plateau where we get to give away a wonderful gift. I'm not sure what the next one. I think it's another gift from our friends at Concordia Publishing House, which is kind of exciting. Speaking of Concordia Publishing House, the Lutheran Witness, the Lutheran Witness is here, or the managing editor of the Lutheran Witness is here. The Reverend Roy Askins joining us in studio this morning. Good morning, Pastor Askins.
Greetings. It's great to be with you guys.
We're not doing Searching the Scriptures today.
Oh, we could.
We could. It's the speed edition.
Yeah, just like shove it into 12 minutes.
You kind of did it with me a second ago.
That's right. We packed in as a little study of God's Word there in a moment. Pastor Askins, managing editor of the Lutheran Witness.
That's what they tell me.
That's what
This is my first time actually, I think, ever live with you guys. We've always done...
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's funny.
We've always recorded, and then you can fix all the wrong things that I say.
We can edit.
On. Yeah.
The editor.
You can edit. That's right. This is why I am an editor, because I love going back. I can write, and then I can revise. All this is live, which means as soon as I say it, we're stuck with it, right?
Yep.
Or you guys are, as the case may be.
So the Lutheran Witness, you're celebrating, let's see, how long has the Lutheran Witness been around?
1882, right? So we can put on our shirts, the genuine thing since 1882. So we're coming up on 140. We're 140 years this year. Yeah, that's right. Wow. 140 years. So we are actually older than National Geographic. We're one of the oldest denominational magazines, but also one of the oldest magazines still in continuous production. So
that's fascinating.
Can I just say, what a rich legacy we have in the LCMS, because we have the longest continuous radio station as well with KFUO, right? Christian,
religious,
religious, yeah. And so I mean, we got in print, we've got over the airwaves. What a rich tradition.
It's pretty incredible. It's pretty incredible to be part of it and to be able to share, Christ, 140 years of pointing people to Christ and Him crucified. Yeah, it's pretty great.
How has the Lutheran Witness changed, evolved in that long? I know we don't have time to go through every year of the history, but there's a lot of interesting.
Like an hour and a half here, right?
Yeah, sure.
Just German to English was a rough one,
right? Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of interesting things that have happened just because of changing culture, changing language, just world history. What are some of those highlights of the history?
Sure. So really, the heritage of newsletters and magazines in the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod begins with Der Luther Honor, C.F.W. Walther's German publication, which we actually continued to produce in German until, do you know the year?
1940?
Later. 1974.
Whoa!
The last issue of Der Luther Honor was 1974 in German, and there were still people reading it in German, which is absolutely incredible to me.
Awesome.
And writing for it. So the Lutheran Witness was actually a different publication, originally founded out of a theological controversy, the predestinarian controversy in the 1880s. The Ohio Synod at the time was responsible for publishing Lutheran theology in English. The LCMS did Faithful Lutheran Theology in German. The Ohio Synod did it in English, and they ended up on the wrong side of the debate. So the LCMS said, we need our own English publication. And so we started a publication for English-speaking Lutherans, and actually it was originally started by the LCMS, but then when you have the formation of the English Synod or the English Conference and then the English Synod, the LCMS gave that over to the English Synod. And it was actually for quite some time, like 90, into the 1900s, probably into 1911 or so. It was published by Concordia College, Conover, North Carolina. You didn't probably even know we had a Concordia there. But You did?
But that's only because I work here and I get to do all kinds of history stories. So I wouldn't have known that otherwise. Yes.
Yeah. So we had a Concordia in Conover, and I didn't know it until I, started looking at the editorial list. So they were kind of responsible for it. And then in 1911, when the Lutheran Witness the English district or conference, English Synod, became the English district of the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod, they brought Lutheran Witness with them and gave it back to the LCMS. And we continue to publish to this day. So a lot has changed up until probably the 1960s. It was a single color, paper, not glossy at all, just more like a newsletter style publication. In the 60s, we started doing more kind of news articles, less focus on theology per se, but more kind of news focused, what's going on in the Synod. And we ended up with a glossy cover about that time, and then kind of slowly became glossier and glossier until the early 2000s, late 1990s, early 2000s. We go full gloss at that time. And then, digital era happens. Eventually we get websites, and now we have podcasts hosted by KFUO, of course. Thank you very much for that. And now we have all sorts of different things that we do. So we have online stuff. We've got podcasts. You can actually read it all in digital form if you want to. You can order a digital subscription and get it in PDF. So all sorts of different ways that it can be published.
You mentioned podcasts, the Lutheran Witness Podcast. What is the Lutheran Witness Podcast for listeners who might not have encountered it yet?
It is hosted by KFUO, Christ for you, anytime, anywhere.
Hey.
Yeah.
It's like you hang out with us.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of the tagline, at the beginning of every podcast. Christ for you, anytime, anywhere. The Lutheran Witness Podcast, honestly, it kind of primarily what we're doing is also sharing what we're doing with Searching the Scriptures and the Coffee Hour. But one of the things that I have been trying to do is we publish all of our online articles, or a bunch of articles online, and I try to read those for our listeners. That way, if you're on the commute to work and you need something to listen to, you can't read or shouldn't be reading the articles on your phone while you're driving into work, right? I'm not saying I've ever done that before, right? You can listen to the articles through the podcast if you want. We share some of the stuff, kind of updates and highlights occasionally from what's coming up in the future issues, but mostly just reading those things and then doing Searching the Scriptures. So,
Pastor Smith, I said if you have any pressing questions, ask the managing editor of the Lutheran Witness. This is your chance. So,
well, I don't really have a pressing question, but I want to comment that I think that's a great addition, what you were just talking about with the reading of it, because that's the main way, especially as I've been in rural southern Illinois, I have long drives for hospital visits and so forth. I can't read. Mm-hmm. And when I'm in my office, I need to be preparing sermons and things like that. But being able to listen to it, and I used to have to do it the old school way where I would have my phone kind of read it, and I can't pronounce things right, especially theological terms too. So that's been a great addition, I think.
Great. Glad to do it.
And we're so thankful for the partnership. We have just about a minute here. How has this partnership, what we're able to do together with the podcast been a valuable resource to you and those you serve through the Lutheran Witness?
I think it's exactly what Pastor Smith has already mentioned. I mean, the fact that, especially pastors, as they're, traveling, going places, they can catch up on what's going on with the Lutheran Witness. They can hear about what's upcoming. Because typically when I read the articles, I'll do a little intro beforehand where I talk about, here's what's going on with the Lutheran Witness, here's some upcoming issues, kind of updates and news and things like that people can catch up on. But really the opportunity for people to be able to dig into Lutheran theology, dive into what we're doing online with the print articles or the online articles, and still be able to do that in ways where, they're out mowing the lawn or something like that. They can listen to the articles and still catch up on what's going on. So it's been a wonderful blessing for us over at the Lutheran Witness. We love working with you guys over at KFUO. All I have to do is record and send it off, and then you guys take care of the rest. It's beautiful. I love it. It's fantastic.
Well, we appreciate your partnership, and it's just a joy to get to work together with creative people like you and to be able to share something so great as the Lutheran Witness. And of course, we have a blast trying to pack in an hour's worth of Bible study in a half an hour once a month, as well as we do Searching the Scriptures. That's always fun as well. It's like the speed version of a Bible study. Well, if you're listening today and you find these resources so valuable, such as Searching the Scriptures on the Coffee Hour, the Lutheran Witness Podcast, Concord Matters, all these things. If you find them valuable, give us a call today and support KFUO during our Sharathon. Now, Pastor Askins, you saw the phone numbers and you were using your best radio voice to read it earlier. Will you give us the phone numbers today?
The phone number is 1-800-730-2727 or 314-821-0850.
No, that's not how you share the Lutheran Witness Podcast normally. That's not the voice you use.
Not be able to keep a straight face if you did that for 25 minutes.
It's like pastors that get the preacher voice when they step into the pulpit. It's like, that's not who you are.
He asked for the radio voice.
That's right. I did ask for it. Give us a call today, 1-800-730-2727, 1-800-730-2727, so we can continue this great work of proclaiming Christ for you anytime, anywhere on KFUO Radio. Our guest today, the Reverend Roy Askins, managing editor of the Lutheran Witness. Pastor Askins, thanks so much for joining us for Sharathon. It's been a blast.
I agree. Thank you so much for having us.
And Pastor Sean Smith, host of Concord Matters. So fun to have you in studio. And this is probably the last time that we'll actually get to be in studio probably for a while together, as Pastor is headed to Iowa, to Bethlehem in Mason City, right?
That's correct.
So God's blessings to you and your family. I know you've got some packing ahead of you this afternoon. Sorry, we'll be busy. Won't be able to help you with your packing this afternoon and tomorrow. But God's blessings, safe travels. And fear not, Concord Matters continues. He's taking the equipment with him so he can keep doing Concord Matters from Mason City, Iowa. God's blessings, Pastor Smith.
Thanks.
You've been listening to the Coffee Hour during Sharathon 2022. I'm Andy Bates.
I'm Sarah Gulseth.
The Coffee Hour with Andy and Sarah is a production of KFUO. To support the Coffee Hour and KFUO Radio, visit KFUO.org. You can also text KFUO to 41444 or send an email to gifts@KFUO.org. And you can call us at 800-844-0524. KFUO. Christ for you, anytime, anywhere. Become a day sponsor during our Sharathon today. Call 314-821-0850 or toll free 1-800-730-2727.